going to talk about Bleach.
Yeah.
This guy really does not want to do this. He does not like Bleach at all.
Because I don't really remember when, look at the camera, like, I used to watch it, I used to read it first. I don't remember how long ago that I used to read it. I think I probably started to get into it around 6th grade, maybe 7th. I did get into it probably 6th grade throughout throughout a good majority of that. And, you know, I want to start out saying some, like, the better things about this is because it's not, I mean, because it is awful.
It has potential.
But, yeah.
It had potential.
It had potential.
But just like how I feel about Naruto, that potential is incredibly wasted. And in fact, Naruto had a lot of potential near the very middle, almost endish, actually, and then it kind of got crappy.
And that's a whole nother thing that we can get into.
But Bleach, I feel, has wasted its potential since the Soul Society arc. And just to let you know, this guy does not know the full history.
And I think that it's actually it started to trip a lot earlier than that. But that's just me, and we'll get more into that. The pluses of this manga is that obviously it's one of the better examples of what manga is, moreover shonen manga. Like, this is your shonen manga. If there's anything, because this manga has the best art of all of the shonen mangas out there that you can think of. This is way better than Naruto. This stuff is fucking awesome. The art is impeccable. The designs are amazing, even if sometimes they have their bad hair days and they look just fucking stupid sometimes. And I try and keep my custom to a minimum. But that's one of the good things about it. Another one of the good things is some of the characters are, I don't know, I don't even know if I want to say this because I might regret this later, but I want to say that some of them are memorable. I might be going against that, but I mean, you'll never forget them.
I have my favorite characters in the show. Yeah, there's quite a few good ones, in my opinion. Yeah.
But that was the breaking point for me. This very discussion, what I'm talking about right now, how I had some of the characters I liked, and then one of the most recent chapters.
That's a different.
And that's a whole other video.
A different video. We're gonna start with the universe, because this guy does not know the entirety of Bleach. I have followed it mostly through. I am going to be his guidance to the whole universe, and we're going to get his raw reaction to all of this.
Because I don't even remember how far I got, because I read from start to
Soul Society.
Not even. I honestly think as far as I went, from the beginning on, was when he finally kills, and this is... And I know a lot of people are going to laugh at me for this, and I know you're going to laugh at me probably, but I only got as far as when he killed the hollow that killed his mother. That's as far as I went. And then I stopped.
And you started knowing sporadic bits and bits of it.
And then I got back. Then after that, I started to read in the actual magazine the things that were happening in the actual magazine. When the Espada arc, when the Espada arc was starting. From then on, I followed it, and then it got to this point where it just got so friggin' ridiculous that I could not take it any longer. As a man who respects good storytelling, I just could not take it anymore.
Alright, well, let's start off with the essentials of the universe, and then let me pull this up.
I don't even know where to start. Because
I have it all planned out. Okay.
Okay.
So, there is a spirit world, and if you don't know this in Bleach, then why the hell are you here? Okay.
Oh, should we start with like just a generalization of like the starter's plot?
No, let's not start the story. People are going to get terribly, terribly confused, because then we're going to have to do one huge video.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to start with the basic components of the universe.
By the way, if you have not read Bleach and you have no idea what we're talking about,
alert.
There's one spoiler alert to people who have read it, but if you've not read it, I don't know what you're doing here. Let's be honest. I don't really know what you're doing here.
Because we're going over the entirety of Bleach. You're better off just reading it to know just how bad it is.
The absolute bare bones description I can give you is just this kid who does live in the real world, gets involved with these entities called Soul Reapers, who are basically like the police of the afterlife, and they
Yes, and then
they hunt down eviler spirits and they help other
and
benevolent
shenanigans ensue.
Benevolent spirits go on to another place. That gets punt kicked into another universe, by the way, because that's not consistent. But whatever.
Okay.
Universe.
So first off, I'm gonna start. Since we're spending like the majority of the story in the Soul Society or in the Spirit World or some shit like that. Okay. All things in the afterlife are composed of reishi, which means spirit particles. And basically, these are basically just the molecular... You could say it's the spiritual cells. That's the best way I can describe it. It's basically... Yes, I know. It is basically the spiritual cells of the afterlife. That's the best way I can put it. Everything is composed of reishi in the spirit world, okay?
Even though...
We should quit. You're gonna explode.
Okay, because
suspend your suspend your disbelief for now. This is at the very beginning where you're supposed to suspend your disbelief.
Okay, he's gonna walk us through the universe. And I'm gonna tell you pretty much my comments on what the hell I think about this. I am this guy who has not finished the entire thing, and on the reishi bit, the manga, just a story in general, blatantly says that, like, kind of like the chakra, like the power source that they draw from is what they call spiritual pressure. That's a whole nother video.
Okay. No, that's in this video. That's in this video. All right.
Okay.
Now, all like sentient beings, as in like moving, like living like beings in the afterlife. Okay, they have something called Ryoku. And that stands for spiritual power. Not confused with spiritual pressure. Calm down. This is where you suspend your disbelief, okay?
Just the fact that there is a difference between spiritual pressure and spiritual power. Okay, keep going.
Okay, spiritual power is basically how much energy you have in yourself. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, chi. Basically chi, yes. It's chakra. It's basically what you use for all your attacks. Like Seto and all those keto and etc., okay? And spiritual pressure, which is in Japanese is called Reiatsu, okay?
Oh, bite me.
Spiritual pressure is the physical force or pressure exerted by a user. That's the best way I can describe it.
Even though they say multiple times that the spiritual pressure is the one that powers their attacks on the earlier arcs of the story, this quickly gets sidelined by what is it?
No, that's not sidelined. It's just that Reiatsu is mentioned just that much more often.
Anybody who is a longtime fan, I want you to seriously, like, ask yourself if you remember what spiritual pressure is.
No, I want to ask you if you even know what spiritual power is, because they say pressure so much in the manga and in the anime. Like, literally, I didn't even know spiritual power existed until I looked it up. Literally, I went on the wiki to look up spiritual pressure, and I found, like, what the fuck? Ryoku, what the hell is this? I clicked on it, and, like, spiritual power? What the hell is this? So, like, I'm just, like, I just discovered it through wiki.
I'm gonna go on a minor tangent here, and I'm gonna ask you what reishi is, because they did bring up, it's called reishi, yes?
Yes.
They bring up reishi very early on. I can't really complain about that. They bring it up when they're trying to
establish the concept.
They do this stupid thing where Uryu and Ichigo are like having some stupid competition on how many hollows they can kill, and then Rukia says something like, "You can use reishi to track down people in the spirit world."
I think you're getting this.
No, I am not kidding. I know what you're talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about.
What is it?
You're talking about those ribbon things, right?
Yes. What is that?
I actually don't know. No, I don't know. Okay. We'll get to that. I'm just going to exclude that because I don't know.
Okay, we'll get to this later.
After all, you see it once, you never see it again.
What?
You never
see the ribbons again.
No, you really don't.
I swear I thought that was reishi. No, that's not reishi.
No, okay, reishi. Okay, you remember when Uryu forms his arrows? Like they're like these little bits of blue that just form his arrow or something, or like his arrow. Yeah. That's reishi. The little blue like bits of energy that's like going. That's reishi.
What are the ribbons?
Fuck if I know. I think that's just just like imagery used for Ichigo sensing. Like
we're not even 10 minutes in.
No, we're not.
And I'm already like, oh, fuck me. All right, keep going. So we were at We were naming the spiritual powers.
Okay, the difference between spiritual power and spiritual pressure is that spiritual power is your potential, how much you actually have. And
why do you mention spiritual
pressure is your energy in use. As that means the difference is that people who have more pressure has better control of their power. That's the best way I can put it.
Oh,
pressure is basically how much control you have and you exert it to basically make your presence known and create like different effects on people, because overwhelming pressure can cause different effects like causing fear, like hallucinations, and like bringing them to their knees, etc., etc., etc.
Alright, keep going.
Okay.
I'll just try and go back to this.
That's
later.
okay. Honestly, you're not supposed to rage during this point. This is where you're supposed to suspend disbelief.
I'm gonna be quiet now.
I mean, come on. If you honestly, we wouldn't have to make fun of Dragon Ball Z. We don't have to make fun of alchemy, okay? At this point, so we can't. We're not suspended disbelief in that.
I'll let him keep explaining now.
Okay.
I'll try and.
Now we're gonna move on. Since we just discussed how the spirit stuff works, I'm gonna
Go
go
over
on
one more time.
Okay, so reishi is basically like spirit particles. It basically makes up everything in the afterlife. Spiritual power is how much sentient beings have potentially, like basically like how much potential you have inside of you.
Chi.
Basically, so like not Naruto. Ichigo has a lot of power. It's just that he doesn't know how to control it. And pressure is basically how much control you have over your power, in that you will make your aura thing known. I guess it's like Super Saiyan aura. I don't know.
Alright.
And then we're going to move on to the souls. Okay. Now, souls are apparently very versatile in this universe.
Don't know why. You would think it was because about like the individuality of each spirit.
You would think a soul would go to heaven and hell, and that's that. No.
You would think the powers and the appearances would vary based on like their personal traits, maybe what they did, what the spirit did, what it did while it was in a body. No.
That's a good point. I actually don't know the human life of any Soul Reaper, like natural Soul Reapers, not like Ichigo, because fucking.
And let it be said, I won't go on a tangent about this, but let it be known that and this is another challenge I want you to do. Earlier, I asked you if like you remember what spiritual pressure was. He debunked me a bit on that one, but I swear I want you to make a video response. I want you to look up and tell me with 100% complete satisfactory answer what the high holy hell a Soul Reaper is. Tell me. I dare you. I dare you. Alright.
This guy, he really does not like the concept of a Soul Reaper.
I
was going to go over that, mind you.
I'm gonna.
So you might have to bite your tongue.
I might have to bite my tongue.
Okay, whatever. Now.
Yeah, go.
Now we go on to the souls. Okay, let's start off from the very beginning, because each soul, every single one of those hollows, Shinigami, they all diverge from the same type of soul, and these are called pluses. Okay, these are the spirit of people who just died, basically, and they're bound to their earthly bodies through a chain. Okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm not going to talk anymore.
Suspend your disbelief.
Keep going.
Okay. For the most part, I'll tell you when you can stop suspending your disbelief, because then that's when it's supposed to be, universe is supposed to be established.
Okay, I would say I'm not following, but we're making a video of this, so I'm just going to keep quiet, and he'll explain it. It'll all make sense.
Okay. The spirit of a person who just died are called pluses, okay? And basically, they are bound by a chain to their earthly bodies.
Okay.
So they can't go to the afterlife because they have some regrets or something, that type of stuff. That's basically the regrets holding into the world.
Yeah, that's
easy.
That's ghost lore. That's just general. That's
just in general.
It's a generalization.
And basically, these chains can be broken, and they will start wanting to. Normally, they're bound to their bodies, but they can start being broken. They can wander around. Okay. Now.
Oh. Right,
now.
Go.
If it's broken, the chain is broken. It will begin a gradual process where they become consumed by envy and hatred.
They become aggressive.
No, they just become overwhelmed by negative emotions, envy, regret, and all that. And because they can't come to terms because they're pretty much eternally.
And so afterlife, the Soul Reapers are supposed to guide them.
Yes, a Soul Reaper is supposed to do something called a console, I believe. Yeah. And it's a ritual where they basically put the pommel and put them to the afterlife.
So which was cool. No. Never seen again.
sometimes, but actually in filler. So yeah. All right. Now
Go over this later.
Now, if you don't get to the soul in time, the chain will begin eating itself up until it becomes a hole in your chest, and that creates a hollow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how hollows are made.
And that is actually cool.
That was a good concept.
That's a good concept.
Okay.
Goes out the window. In a way.
Sort of. And now we're gonna go to the Shinigami, otherwise known as Soul Reaper.
Okay.
Okay. I already told you this.
Let me tell you.
That's a mistranslation. Okay.
Okay. I need to explain why this is a problem with mine. I'll go right now. Because after a while I stopped following it completely, and then he started to talk to me about it, and he started telling me about all these stupid things that were happening, and he kept on using the term Shinigami. Okay? I thought that this was like a higher kind of Soul Reaper. I did. I really did. The way you kept saying it. I thought you were talking about a higher kind, like the Soul Reapers, like they work for a Shinigami. Apparently they're the same thing. Can you explain?
Yes.
You explain.
The thing about why we don't use Shinigami is because in Japanese they do not have a word for Reaper. Mm-hmm. Shinigami means the Reaper. It translates to God of Death, but they don't call it the Reaper. They call it Shinigami. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now in America, we censor the word God a lot, in case you haven't noticed. So that's why we couldn't have God of Death. Because we censor the word God because of our a lot of Christian faiths and all that.
Which is stupid, by the way, because in the very first volume, Rukia sends an evil spirit to Genna. She does.
To Genna?
Yeah, she sends this evil spirit to hell. The gates of hell open up. Like fucking Rashomon from Naruto. This thing comes out of nowhere, opens up, sucks it in, gone. And you really don't see it again. And
no. Only
proof of this is the fact that he doesn't remember this.
Actually, you see it in the movie. No, because I know what Genna was. What the fuck is Genna?
Okay, no, if I've offended, and I've said this wrong, I'm sorry, but it's hell. They called it, it's Japanese word for hell. Genna.
It's actually Jigoku.
Jigoku?
Yeah.
Is that? Are you sure? You look it up. But that's what happens. And I don't remember if it's a hollow exactly, because when Reapers use Zanbakuto to kill hollows, they just die. They disappear. And this one... Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, it's Jigoku.
No, I remember. Okay, no. This is a difference. When they kill hollows... I need to finish this point. Okay. When they kill hollows and they just disappear, that's because that spirit was predominantly good when it was alive. If an evil spirit turned into a hollow and hurt people in that form, and they kill it, then the gates of hell open. I remember that because that was really cool.
Yes.
Okay, alright, I'm done.
Okay, now we're talking about the chains and stuff or something?
We were talking about how hollows are made when they eats them up and they become hollows, yeah?
Oh yeah, we're talking about Shinigami, because like I was saying there was a mistranslation.
Okay, we'll keep going with the Shinigami.
So, the censorship, okay, they censor the word God a lot in America, and that is why we call them Soul Reapers, because I don't know.
It's some dumb misconception, I don't understand.
I don't know why. Like, we say God a lot.
But Shinigami.
God of War. Fuck's sakes, Kratos.
I know.
God. Okay. Now, Shinigamis are people who are sent to the spirit world, okay? And they have They have a large amount of, relatively large amount of spirit power, okay? And apparently, if you have a lot, like a shit ton, you will begin having adverse effects on the weaker spirits around you, okay? So basically, there are some scouts, I believe. There are scouts who find these people and send them into the Soul Society. The spirit world and the Soul Society are not the same. Okay? Let me say that right now.
So, if they're spirits and they're not being consumed and they have a certain amount of power, they are, what, recruited?
Yes, if they have, in the afterlife, okay, if they have a large amount of power, then they are recruited by the Soul Society to go into the academy and learn how to be a Shinigami, or Soul Reaper. I'm going to say Shinigami because I'm more used to it, okay?
Okay.
And so, so they go to the academy and get trained and everything, okay? Now, okay. Basically, here are their feats, okay? This is what they can do.
Are we getting into powers or history?
These are speed. The other. Should these be in powers?
Just explain them. It's fine. Just go.
No, fuck it. No.
Yeah, just
no. It's fine. I'll explain the powers later.
Okay.
Okay. Now I have to pull up the tabs.
So what are we gonna go over now?
Now I'm gonna go over.
We're gonna go over what the spirits can do.
We're gonna go over powers in a different video.
That's
I'm
a different.
I was about to go on a tangent, like a big tangent. I'm supposed to be separating these videos. Right, fucking 20 minutes in. Jesus.
And
okay.
And what about the universe we covered? Powers and spirit types?
We've gone over the makeup of spirits and what I get what they can do, and we've gone over
The types
souls.
of spirits. Souls.
And what happens to them.
The normal docile souls that you would see if you were like clairvoyant, where they look like people who have like unfinished business. Then the actual monster hollows that have been consumed.
So everything that
keeps them here.
Everything that has afterlifely qualities, basically, that's what we just went over. Okay. Hollows. Now, like I just said, if the chain eats itself up and it creates a hole in your chest, okay, they become hollow. And basically they're just beings driven by feelings of hatred, envy, all these negative emotions, and they begin feeding on souls on instinct. Because they're just that consumed, I guess. And apparently hollows have morals, but I don't know. That's another thing. Okay. Now, if each hollow has their own, basically, powers, okay? They have their own special abilities, all unique, I guess. They all have unique abilities, okay? And eventually, after they start eating a good amount of souls, they
obviously start to get more power.
They become to evolve a little bit, and eventually they're able to go to. They reside in a place called Mundo, and that is the realm of hollows. Why they have their own realm? I
was about to say that. I was like, so what? They get so powerful and they just blink out and appear in Mundo?
I think after their whole appears, they go to Mundo somehow.
What?
It's not explained. Because in the manga, the first time we see a hollow become formed, so the chain ate him up, right? And he just kind of blinked out. Remember?
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay.
Or if I did see it, I don't remember.
Yeah, there's like this frog hollow, or whatever, and basically before he was turned into hollow, he just kind of he ate him up, and he was just kind of consumed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like a couple of minutes later, Rukia says, "Oh crap, we're gonna find readings of a hollow soon." And then lo and behold, we see a hollow just rip out of like a void in space.
Mm-hmm.
Like a time-space continuum and just start like wrecking havoc, you know?
Again, with the art style and like the direction is very well done. It's really cool.
Yes.
When all of this is happening, as ridiculous as it may be, especially when we get farther in, it looks awesome. Alright, you gotta keep going now.
Now, after that happens, in Mundo, right?
Yes.
Wait, I gotta say one more thing, a small thing on the minor note. I might get off topic, but I have to say this. There are apparently, like, the equivalent of what you can call it, like plankton hollows. Because there are tiny hollows that absorb the reishi in the dirt, in the sand of Mundo, and that's how they grow. I don't know how that works.
Was that what was chasing Nell when we first see
her? No. It's just that it's been shown that there are small, very small hollows, like this big, like literally like this big, that are in the sand, absorbing reishi.
What kind of lame kind of people made up those hollows? I mean, Jesus.
I have no idea.
Maybe worthless people.
They must not have done a lot of shit.
I know, if they are.
Jesus.
How did... I'll say this because he hasn't seen it. I remember this. This makes me think of this line from Pineapple Express, where one of the characters asks the other one, "It's like, when you're reincarnated, do you want to be a beautiful eagle, or do you want to be an anal beetle?" And I was like, it just makes me think of that. That means their life is accumulated to becoming, what is it?
No, these little tiny hollows. I don't know.
And what purpose does this have?
No, I just read it up somewhere. I don't even remember.
This is it.
I don't even remember reading this in the manga. I looked it up.
Alright.
Okay.
So
I can't remember every single little thing that happens in the manga, okay? It's been a while since I've gone over this, but I'm trying to the best of my ability to remember all this I can. Okay. If I do have some errors that you guys can point out.
This is not an official, this is not a very orderly or, like, respectable review right now. This is just us.
Just a rant.
This is us displaying our goddamn grievances. Alright.
And this guy does not know the whole history of Bleach, so it's time for me to educate him.
So he's walking me through this. So how they get consumed and they blink out to Hekamundo. That's where we are.
Hekamundo. You know how people get pissed off when you don't pronounce it right.
Okay.
Okay, now when these hollows began getting more powerful, right? Okay, this is gonna be really weird.
So what happens when they get to Hekamundo? Because these are spirits that are being consumed. They look like spirits. The hole is opening. They blink out. Then what happens?
Okay. They begin consuming, and basically, after a while, apparently hollows also have like this instinct of self-preservation because they can start grouping up in like swarms, you know?
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Okay. This is where you might think it's starting to get stupid.
Well, alright, keep going.
Okay.
I think I know
now, when these hollows are grouped up together, right?
Mm-hmm.
They begin to start kind of merging into a single entity, and these are called Menos.
Yeah, the Menos. Is it the Menos or the Menos Grande?
It's Menos.
It's just Menos? I thought it was Menos.
Minus less? I don't know. I thought it was Menos Grande.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, okay,
there's a difference.
Okay.
Right.
Now,
he's going to continue.
Yes, okay. Now, the first class of these Menos, okay, they are called Gillion. And these are huge, like, huge humanoid, like, hollows with, like, with identical mass, identical appearances. Like, literally all of these Gillions are identical.
And I want to do a little pause. Up to this point, this is not that weird right now.
No,
because
actually,
this happens very early on.
I shot my pants.
And I was really impressed. That was a really cool thing for them to bring up because this was a big deal, and this was, like, a big problem very early on. Alright, keep going. This is not weird yet.
I'm going to say this right now because I found a really big continuity error. It says that these hollows are so powerful that you need, like, several Shinigami at once to kill them. Mind you, these are cannon fodder.
Yeah. Even when I was reading it and they first appeared, I knew it was gonna turn to cannon fodder.
Not to mention, Ichigo, a newbie Shinigami, literally just cleaved like one, like almost in half.
Yeah.
Boom. So like, they basically establish it as like this really powerful being. Even Rukia is all scared, and mind you, she's like fucking got like Sodeno Shiryuki at this point. So I guess like she has a fucking Shikai. Right, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. We're gonna go about that in history. I'm gonna be horribly confused.
Now back to the Menos Grande.
Okay. Now, after these Menos began eating more, right? And they began getting stronger. There will be a single hollow inside this massive consciousness, right? And one dominant conscious will like go up and take control of all of these hollows, essentially devouring the rest of them, and mentally.
And I can sort of buy this. Okay, it's not that bad right now.
And they will become something called Huchas.
I remember that.
Yes, these are like medium sized, not as big, like huge, like fucking story high, but these are pretty big dudes. They're big dudes. Big,
what are they, Menos? Do they look like Menos at this point?
They look right there.
Okay, so they look more humanoid.
A little more humanoid, but with, like, animal characteristics, almost. Okay? So, these guys are pretty big still, right? And the thing about them is that if they stop devouring they stop devouring souls and stop getting stronger, and they eventually regress back to being a Gillion. Okay. Which means
I can keep buying.
Yeah, so it keeps striving. It keeps striving to eat more and more and more and more and more, right? Like an obscene amount. And after that happens, they evolve to their ultimate form called Vasto Lorde. Okay. I think I know what you're thinking about the Espada, okay?
I'm waiting because the reason I remember all of this, the reason that this is all significant towards me is because, remember, I skipped a lot of this. I did not remember how Espadas were made. But I give Tite Kubo credit. There was one opening to this chapter where we see how Grimjaw was made. That was this awesome. And it actually clicked. It was one of those moments when I was reading this where I was like, oh, so that's how. Because it didn't even explain with words how this was happening. It was just a bunch of pictures, and it was like a narrator, a Grimjaw, saying like his thoughts, and it was like eerie and weird because you see these like big droves of Menos Grandes, and then you see one, its hollow mask starts to change, and I was like, what the fuck? And then deviates from the rest of the herd, and then it starts to change and change and change until it becomes this like cat thing, and you realize, oh shit, that's Grimjaw. All right, but that was cool.
Okay,
keep going.
Bastolordes are said to be like you would say it's literally stronger than multiple captains at once. So imagine like a whole army of them. That's what Aizen was getting to. Okay. I'm gonna say this right now, so you don't get like bullshit and everything. Okay.
Okay.
There's only a handful in the Espada that are Bastolordes. Not all of them.
Okay. Wait. So Espada and Bastolordes.
Okay. I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So Bastolordes are the ultimate forms of hollows, right?
Okay.
Theirs is a subspecies. I believe they're called subspecies or something unique. I don't know. I don't know how this fucking works. Okay. If a hollow rips off their mask. Or tears off a part of it, they become a Rancor.
Yes. Okay. Keep going.
And but basically, a Rancors are hollows who seal their powers inside of a Zanpakuto of their own use. And this makes them stronger because I am not entirely sure.
That would go into a discussion about Zanpakutos, and I don't know what they are, so I'm not going to be talking about that right now.
I don't know how that makes. I was very confused. I do not know how that made your power force stronger by sealing your hollow powers into these swords.
Ripping off the hollow mask makes sense because remember, while all of this is happening, remember what has happened before all of this. One hollow has taken over all of these different ones. They're still hiding behind this mask. Once they rip it off, I can see how that would symbolize that it finally has its own identity. It's not the same. I can buy that. I guess.
Now. Apparently, with Hogyoku makes like perfect Rancors.
What's Hogyoku? What is Hogyoku?
I don't even fucking know.
Okay, we'll go to that later.
I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know what the Hogyoku even categorizes in. We're gonna separate this video into universe, powers, history, and characters. Where do I even start with Hogyoku? Where? I don't know how to explain.
He is talking to you, people who have read this.
Would you please explain to me what the fuck the Hogyoku is? It's like that spear that like Aizen rips out of like Rukia's chest.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in the Soul Society. Okay, I'll go with that in history.
Okay.
What the fuck is the Hogyoku? It's literally the Deus Ex Machina. It's a physical Deus Ex Machina.
One of many in this stupid franchise, by the way.
No, but this is literally a physical Deus Ex Machina. Like, the whole concept is in this tiny little spear. Literally. I don't know what the fuck to say. Okay. Back to Rancor. Okay?
Okay.
Let me read this up a little bit. I did not really do my research that much on Rancor beforehand.
This is very unprofessional, by the way. If this pisses you off, please leave. We're voicing our opinions.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know how they get stronger by sealing their powers into their sword. I don't. It's what they do, and they get stronger somehow.
We need to go into what a Zanpakuto is to go any further in that one. And I don't know what it is by complete definition.
I think that's going to fall under powers.
Yeah, so we'll say that for later.
Okay,
not right now.
Yeah, and basically they can even do their own release to resurrect themselves into their hollow forms. Only like hollow, bring their hollow abilities into their human forms, basically.
Okay, so they seal it into their Zanpakuto.
Yeah, they seal their hollow abilities. Like I told you, how every hollow has their own unique abilities and traits. They seal them into a Zanpakuto.
And they fight with this thing, and then if they are in a bind, they can release it.
And yeah, and if they use their to regain their powers, they call it resurrection. And basically, that means resurrection.
Which is actually kind of cool.
Yes.
I'm not gonna.
So it's very similar to like how Shinigami uses a release. I haven't gone over that though.
Powers. We'll go over this.
Yes, this is very unprofessional.
We'll go over this.
We don't have a script here. We're just kind of like balling it.
Oh God, man.
It's okay. Spoonie does the same thing, I believe.
But we haven't even gone over Soul Reapers yet because there's this where I don't even call it resurrection or release. I just call it reaching a new form. That's what it is. I don't care what it is. It's just it's basically a hollow form of Bankai,
Yes, that's actually exactly what it is.
Because I have this bad feeling that I'm even wrong if I say that, because I even know that's entirely true.
No, they have their Bankai equivalent. That's Resurrection. That is literally their Bankai equivalent.
Okay, well that's... I didn't know that, and I have to say that's a bit clever because it's kind of like an inverse. It's this whole other process as to what a Bankai is. It's still ridiculous, and it makes no sense, though. It's just...
They just kind of know. You're getting confused because as Bleach goes on, it basically just starts portraying its own concept. That's why you're getting horribly confused.
Oh.
At the time where this is being established, I bought it. I didn't care. I mean, fucking, I love DBZ.
Well, so did I. Remember, I started around this time.
I love DBZ.
I started again around this time, too.
Let's be honest, Super Saiyan's a little bit ridiculous. I made my own theory on that. I'm not going to put it in this video, but I made my own theory on Super Saiyan. It was unexplained, but I loved it.
By the way, the exact moment where I started reading again, where I completely skipped and started reading the Espada, was literally right when Olikiora first appears with Grimjaw. He appears with Grimjaw.
I think
or is it someone else? But he first appears because I actually thought that it was some hollow form of Uryu. I was...
Wait, Ukiora?
Yeah, I used to think he looked like him. I used to think that was actually him because I remember reading it, and a couple of chapters before he was having some issues or something. Anyway,
okay,
you keep going. We're going back to the universe now.
Now after I finished Hollows.
We did?
Yeah, that's basically like as far as Hollows go. We're done with. They go all the way
up to Arankars.
Yeah, we went from normal Hollows all the way to Arankars.
Okay.
Espadas is a story. It's a story concept. Okay.
So a normal spirit is tied to their earthly form.
Yes, and when this chain is broken, like through a chain's broken, they become hollow. Like eventually, they become hollows, and until if they're not rescued in time by a Shinigami, like they become hollows. Okay. Then they start feeding on souls, and they become evolved into meadows, where they go and they're like a group of hollows, and they group up together,
and they start to herd.
Yeah, they herd together.
A lot of them.
Yes, they do herd actually. Like look at the Huchas.
Yeah, which is why one of them starts to develop individuality.
Yes. So one of them groups up, and then one dominant conscious takes over the rest and starts like getting stronger, and they become a Huchas. They must continue to consume souls, or they revert, or they like regress. But if they consume enough, and under some special condition that's not very explained, actually, they evolve into Bastolorde, which are like the baddest motherfuckers like at this point. And then they rip off their mask, and they become a Rancor. And mind you,
okay, keep going. You go.
Before you get confused, you can rip off your mask at any stage. It doesn't matter if you're Menos, it doesn't matter if you're Gillian or Huchas or Bastolorde. You can rip off your mask at any stage and become an Rancor.
I can kind of buy that.
Yes.
At a point, because I mean, it means that they've made a whole new identity, which is why I said I think now I kind of understand why the mask tearing off in this franchise in general is very significant.
Do you remember the hollow that Ichigo fought? Rand Fisher that killed his mother? He ripped off his mask. And he wasn't even Menos.
But this doesn't make any sense, though. You say that Bastolordes are the most powerful.
The most powerful groups of hollow.
But then they turn it into a Rancor,
which makes them stronger.
So then it's a Rancor.
It depends, because Huchas can do it too.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where buttfuckery begins.
This doesn't.
Okay. A big issue with Bleach I find is that they keep introducing concept after concept after concept after concept long after we're supposed to suspend our disbelief. You're asking us to suspend our disbelief throughout the whole story. I'm sorry, you can't do that. It's like as if like Batman, you make it clear Batman will not have superpowers. In the middle of it, he has to have superpowers. No, it doesn't work. You can't have him fucking become a vampire in like the very end game of the fucking story and explain the concept, how it works. You can't do that. No,
I can't. I'll add on to this much later because this is a whole thing. But I've made my own promise to not rant too much. Maybe because I'll go whoa.
There is a thin line between revealing a concept that wasn't explained at the very beginning, and creating your own fucking butt, fucking out of fucking your ass. Okay, like no.
I completely
introducing
agree.
new concepts. Tite Kubo, if you are listening to us, stop.
Please.
Stop.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the next thing we go over?
Molly,
we haven't even gotten to where I'm going to be the one talking because you're the one who knows I don't. And I will give my opinions later because we have a lot to cover right now.
We're at 40 minutes. Jesus, haven't even reached the next category.
We have reached 40 minutes, and we've gone
This
over
is halfway.
powers and souls. We haven't even gone over Shinigami. Oh.
You're halfway. Halfway of this video, mind you.
Oh. Okay,
Yeah.
So what's next? Is Shinigami next?
Nope. We already went over Shinigami, remember?
Oh,
Quincy's!
Wait, no, we haven't. Wait.
Yeah, before we went to Hollows, we explained Shinigami, how they work.
Oh,
They went to
yes,
Soul
yes,
Society.
yes,
They went to the Soul Society, and I explained like how they're recruited and stuff,
Okay.
and like, what they do. Oh yeah, have we gone over that?
What?
The fact that they kill Hollows and they purify their spirits to go to the Soul Society, or if they're too bad, they go to hell.
Yeah,
That's you went off on a rant and explained it.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I was getting lost. You get lost very easily if you try and list this out, because this is an example. Is if somebody just tried to sit down and tried to walk you through everything that's happening.
It's really
That is
hard.
this video. That is what we are doing right now.
Because there are concepts that are made on the other concepts that become a sub-concept, becomes a sub-sub-concept, and it's really hard to explain.
And then we have a whole other arc that
And
puts
literally-
all of that
And literally,
behind
like,
us.
all these concepts are being like pulled out at the very late part of the manga, and I'm just
That's a whole nother rant.
categorizing
Let's keep
this.
going with the explaining.
Okay, now Quincy's. I will say this right now, I have not read the majority of this new arc, the new Quincy arc, okay? So, I'm sorry if this seems a little uninformed.
Mm-hmm.
From what I can gather, apparently all Quincy's diverge from one being.
Okay.
Called Yawat.
Can
I do not.
I'm gonna say something right now because I'm gonna bring back up what I think of what Quincy's are, because that's what Quincy's. I knew that they were actually living people. Yes, they are living people.
I believe so.
I don't know, and I know that their weapons completely destroy hollows, unlike when the Zanpakuto can purify. I know that was made very, very clear. Fine, cool. This is everything that I know about Quincy's. There was a war against Quincy's, right, between Soul Reapers and Quincy's. Yes.
Wait.
Real quick. No.
What the
Wait.
fuck?
No, this is something else, John. Come on. Quincy's went up against a war with the Soul Reapers. Yes, and a lot of them were killed. Okay.
The reason why is because when Quincy's annihilate Hollows, they do not go to the
I said
afterlife. They are eradicated.
I said that.
Yes, and the balance between Hell and the Soul Society will become eventually out of proportion. And apparently, like, it's kind of like the Hell theory. Like, if souls are going in at a rapid rate, like, Hell will explode in fieriness. Or if Hell is expanding too fast, it becomes frozen over. It's kind of like that concept.
And Uryu looks badass, but he sucks. That's just
He's kind of a tag along.
Why the fuck do you do that? You introduced this character. I'm sorry I'm cussing, but you introduced this character as this really cool thing. He probably has one of the coolest weapons, I think, of the whole thing. Especially if you're reading it from the start and you get to this character who is the first one, by the way, you can see that can use ranged weaponry against these hollows.
Spirit weapons.
Put to the wayside. He sucks. He is reduced to Vegeta, where he starts out cool, but then he sucks. He's tailing behind the main character throughout the rest of the series.
He's not his sidekick.
Not even. Barely. You know who's his sidekick? Rukia is Ichigo's sidekick.
Sort of.
Sort of. Oh my god.
Until she gets her fucking
But that's
eye.
everything. That is the extent of my knowledge with Quincy's. As far as I know, they did not have too much to do with the plot. I thought it revolved around Soul Reapers.
No, earlier when I was...
Done. You go.
I don't know how to explain this anymore.
What?
Before in the video, when I said, like, I was like, what the fuck, okay?
What
It says, the Quincy were created by Yawak. I don't know how to pronounce it German. The Quincy were created by this German, I don't know how to pronounce that.
He is their king, and his blood flows in every Quincy. The Quincy were scattered all over the world at one time. They were relatives of
magic hunters who specialized in the war against hollows. Magic hunters.
John, do you know what the fuck they're talking about?
No.
Oh, no.
This is genuine. I did not know this.
We're coming to you live according to now.
No, I remember this was established not even 10 chapters ago.
What is it? What is it?
Yorak is like you. Did I tell you about like how like Yamamoto was killed?
Who's Yamamoto?
The old guy with like fucking like fiery flames.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember I told him he was like murdered?
Yes.
It was by the Quincy King.
And this is this guy.
And he stole his bomb guy to boot.
Wait, what?
Remember? Okay. I don't know.
I'm gonna call him Y-Man because I can't produce this. Y-Man. We're gonna call him Y-Man.
Yeah.
So okay, Y-Man created every Quincy.
Yeah, apparently.
He's still alive?
Yeah.
He's still alive? Does that go... is that something else?
Okay, I'm gonna have to... Okay, we're gonna have to do, like, when we get to the story bit, we're gonna do, like, an intercession where I have to study the Hollow arc, okay? Like, not the Hollow arc, the Quincy arc, because I did not know... I was not there for the majority of it. I lost interest, because it was just so much bullfuckery, and just, you know... Then I got back into it. But, okay. So, they were created by... Y-Man.
Y-Man. No, don't laugh. That's what we're gonna be using. If you don't
No,
me.
I'm not laughing because of that. But it's also because they say they're human mediums.
Yeah.
Having the ability, who are spiritually aware humans who are able to manipulate reishi in the living world and in the afterlife. But they were created by a king. Because that king was...
Why? We haven't even gotten into the Soul King.
The King of Quincy's is created by... Do you see where we're going with this? There are so many plot holes, like, literally, like, there are so many plot holes, like, I can, like, see through it. It's like fucking chrysalis, like her legs. Like, that many. That many.
I want to go on a rant, but I don't, because we need to keep explaining the lore. We do.
Okay.
We will go over this.
So Quincy's are able to manipulate reishi in the air, okay? They're able to create their own weapons. Their own, like, spirit weapons, like bows like that.
Why couldn't the main character be a Quincy?
He is.
Oh.
Yeah, you forgot, didn't you?
No, but I mean, put it this way. I mean, it would make more sense if there was a main character who realized...
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Well, this isn't... I'm not going to go into that, but this is a suggestion. Like, the character could have been a Quincy who could have, you know, realized that he had this power, right? Then, he could have come across these entities, which were the Soul Reapers. He didn't know that they existed, or something like that. I don't know anything. Because the Soul Reapers are established as, like, the main, you know, kind of police force, and then the Quincy's...
Out of nowhere. Then you have people like Orihime and Chad.
That's another thing.
I don't know. I don't know what Orihime is. I know what Chad is.
What else does it say about Quincy's?
Okay. They're able to absorb reishi, and when they destroy Hollow, they become eradicated completely. We already went over that.
Obliterated.
We explain their mythology, and that is all we have, unless we go into the powers, which we're going to do in another video.
Okay.
Last one. You haven't... I think I told you about this one, but you might have forgotten.
What is it?
Fullbringers.
Okay. I think this is the one single concept that I have no prior experience with, because...
Prior to this video.
I knew about Hollows, I knew about the spirits they bring up, I knew about, Quincy's.
And Shinigami.
And sort of. They're Soul Reapers. Or not. I don't know.
They're the same thing, damn it! This isn't hard to grasp!
Alright,
So
tell me
it's
what...
a translate. It's not what the fuck
Okay, Fullbringer.
Okay, a Fullbringer are spiritually aware humans, but they're not Quincy's because they were bitten by Hollows while they were alive.
I can buy that I can actually buy that because, I mean, Orihime was attacked.
I don't even know if
very early on.
Actually, I don't know if she's a Fullbringer.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Wait, is Chad a Fullbringer?
Chad's a Fullbringer. Chad is a Fullbringer.
Do they explain?
I already told
Wait, yeah. No,
I just told you.
Yeah, he did. Never mind.
His mother was attacked by a Hollow.
Yeah.
You can either be attacked by a Hollow... No. Wait. No, I'm sorry. I kind of misworded that a little bit. These are children born from mothers attacked from hollows but are still alive. And that's how they have their powers. It manifests in another situation, okay?
See, okay. Everything we just told you, it's like... This is why I just said, what I just said, is why couldn't the main character not be a Soul Reaper? Because, remember, all of these things, all of these, the Fullbringers, the Quincy's, even the Soul Reapers, all revolve around the Hollows. So why is the main character a Soul Reaper? It would make more sense if the main character was attacked, never came into contact with a Soul Reaper, became either a Fullbringer or realized that they were a Quincy, do their business like a vigilante, save people from, these spirits, and then come across the main police force that is the Soul Reapers. It would make more sense. It would be kind of an introduction into, like, this whole world that they've made.
The whole purpose of the story was to make Ichigo a hybrid. I don't know why.
I would be more interested if the main character was, like, Chad, to be honest. I mean, at least he starts completely weak and a complete greenhorn into this world. Or Hime. It sounds
kind
weird.
of a doormat.
And yeah, she's a doormat. Alright.
But,
you go.
They develop abilities that are, like, akin to Hollow. Like, it's not... You can't classify it as Shinigami. You can't classify it as Quincy, obviously. The only explanation is that they're Hollow-like. Like Chad, like he has the fucking demonic arm that shoots out, like, bursts the
fucking awesome.
And then evolves just like a Hollow, mind you. Like his abilities evolve just like a Hollow. So he even gets like a second arm.
Even more reason why I just said that the main character should have been someone like this, because it's a gradual. Honestly, it makes more sense that this person would become closer to losing their humanity and becoming a Hollification.
Which we'll get into later.
Because this could be them, it could be one of these characters dealing with the struggle between becoming more powerful and protecting, but at the cost of themselves and hurting those people. Right.
Okay, so I just explained Fullbringer in its entirety. There's just not that much to them. They're like the least known. They don't even matter, I think. And, okay, now, correct me if... No, okay, I think I remember now. The reason... No, when I bring up all four of these... Keep these things in mind, okay? And this makes no fucking sense.
Well, all of these things being...
this makes no sense.
Well, all of these things...
No, let me finish.
Okay, alright. Go ahead.
Shinigami and Quincy's are polar opposites.
Oh, I know what he's talking about.
Humans and Hollows are polar opposites. And apparently... Quincy, like, Hollow is poisonous to Quincy's.
What?
Hollow...
You should have mentioned this. I didn't know that.
Hollow energy, or Reishi, is poisonous to Quincy's. That's an important plot point later, by the way.
Alright, keep going.
Okay.
Oh, are you going into Ichigo? Are you doing this?
Okay, before I forgot to mention one thing, the Vizards. They're Shinigami with hollow masks. Okay, no, that's done.
They're cool.
Yeah, I like them. They're badass.
They're still badass. Go.
They're polar opposites. Ichigo is simultaneously all four. What? Oh, yeah. What the fuck?
He is a...
I don't give a shit. What the fuck?
What the high holy hell is wrong with you? Tight. It's like me making... I remember when in my creative writing class, my friend talked to me. She went to me and she asked me for help with this idea. And she told me that her friend was making this story where this character was, I shit you not, an angel, half demon, half witch, half werewolf. This, and I looked at her and I told her, there's nothing like that in fiction. There's just the stupidest thing. Then you walked to me one day. You walked up to me and you told me, because I was talking about Uryu and I was talking about Quincy's, and you told me, you know, Ichigo is half Quincy. I was like, the fuck are you rambling about? What are you fucking talking about?
And then you realize, wait.
Then I realized all the powers that he has, he's fucking Soul Reaper, He can rip off his hollow mask. He has fucking Bankai. He is Quincy. I don't even know what the fuck the Quincy part does for him. What the fuck does the Quincy do?
Recently,
what does it do for him?
Powers video.
What?
Powers.
Like, why?
But
this is a half angel demon, werewolf, vampire, witch.
Hybrid.
But with all these things.
And then, mind you, in this universe, it's established that humans and hollows, Shinigami and Quincy, polar opposites. He has 2 polar opposites in him. He should not even exist.
And we haven't even gotten to the parts that really piss us off. This is just one of many. If you like this still, and you've been watching us for 55 minutes, and you are right now trying to make an argument against me and him right now, I got nothing to say to you, because obviously our words and our screaming is not getting through to you. It's not. This isn't even this isn't even my ace example of the worst writing I've ever seen. This is the worst writing I've ever seen.
And before you people say, like, why don't you just leave it alone and let people appreciate it? Okay. I'm doing this because I was into this at one point. I was very...
So was I.
This is the same reason why I felt betrayal from Naruto. I felt a huge amount of potential. So much done. It could have been better than Full Metal Alchemist, okay?
Yes.
It could have been up there, one of the highest of all time, and then it just goes to shit.
Every story maker out there who's watching this, your story has the potential of being better than anything the world has ever seen. That's just a generalization. That's just simple fact alone that something as small and unknown as Attack on Titan can rise and be one of the most popular anime of our generation. Okay? Every story has that potential. It's just up to you to give it that much potential. And
yes,
harvest this, realize, be self-aware of what your story is doing.
Yes. The reason why this fails is because, you know what this is? This is like a story, this is kind of like, let me try to put this in terms. This is like Full Metal Alchemist trying to go DBZ. You can't fucking, okay, let me bring up something. Asura's Wrath. From the very beginning, this game, Asura's Wrath, made it clear how insane it was going to be, how you can power scale it, everything. Genius, in my opinion. People give it low ratings because it wasn't that much of a game, wasn't like a story, but I loved it, okay? It was a great game.
And I haven't even played it, and what he tells me, it's a perfect example of the merits, like the critical merit of a shonen manga that DBZ could have if it reached its full potential. Asura's Wrath does go a step higher than DBZ does, and it still is not at its full potential, and it's good.
DBZ made it clear from the very beginning how it was going to work, okay? It made it clear what it was going to be about. It was going to be about one overpowering another through either tactics or just straight up, like, brute force, okay? Through chi. And chi is used, it's just chi. Chi, Kamehameha, Gallic Gun, Destructo Disc, blah, 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 Final Flash. It all came from chi. Which are basically large-scale blasts. Same thing.
Even Naruto, everything comes from chakra.
Yes.
It does. Even Kekkei Genkai, even if they bring genetics in, it is used through their chakra. It is powered through their chakra.
Like, why do you have to have everything made of the same component but different things? Reishi is all the same. There's nothing different about it. But apparently, what happens to a soul determines what the fuck it is, and like half of them determine like what the fuck happens to the soul. Half of them determines what happens when you're a fucking human. Like, okay, because Bleach was not DBZ level. It really wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't DBZ level. It was more like I thought it was kind of like Naruto, because Naruto, like it was strong. You could use magic to an extent, but you have to be smart about it. Like, look at Naruto. Look at fucking Naruto. He was a prime example. He uses shadow clones. And people can just annihilate him. He can do stuff like transform his clones into shurikens, throw them. Ingenious. Ambush tactics, strategy.
Bleach, not this.
Bleach is just, it's like you said, it's like It's like when you're little.
I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll say it.
Say it.
I remember I brought this up, and I was gonna save this for another video, but now that we're talking about it, I'm gonna bring it up. I remember he just kept on telling me on and on and on about these stupid fucking things that kept on happening that have no conjunction with some of the previous events that have just happened. They make no sense. There's no reason that a guy like, what was it, like Gene, his Zanbakuto can grow and grow and grow and grow. He can.
Wait. Kadia?
The guy with the smile.
Silver hair?
Guy who smiles all the time.
Silver hair?
I think.
Gene?
The guy who
Gene.
His sword can grow so long that it could cut the earth like a fucking lemon. And what does his Bankai do?
Get longer.
Wait, no? That's it?
Wait, no.
No, I thought it was something completely different.
Gets longer and longer. It gets like it goes from like 1,000 kilometers to like something miles or something.
Which is not useful by
And apparently it's not the longest Zanbakuto, it's also the fastest, because it can grow and regrow in an instant. Like literally, like you can't react in time for that.
Oh, okay, no, these are bad examples. Alright, go.
And it turns out later it can also act as a poison.
Oh wait, this is a good example.
Yeah, it is, actually.
Another example, a better one, the one that just made me...
Actually,
I almost lost faith.
Perfect example. Hogyoku.
No.
No. Let me explain why. But that's powers.
Yeah.
Let's not this here. We're gonna go to powers next.
There's no reason that you should come to the conclusion that a growing sword will get more powerful if it becomes poisonous. It makes no sense.
Okay.
Go.
No, okay, we're gonna wrap this up about the universe, okay?
Okay.
Do you see where we're going with this? Contradiction, like, when you try to solve a plot hole, you don't cause more plot holes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't contradict a contradiction. Okay? Story writers out there, know your universe and expand upon it. Don't create new universes in your universe.
Pretend that you are in there.
Pretend you're God.
Yes.
But don't fucking, like, you don't see planets, like fucking planets appearing out of nowhere in our solar system.
You don't see temporal rifts occurring in like freaking Fullmetal Alchemist, and that actually has a lot to do with science. It has no place. The writer knows better.
And that ends our universe video. We're gonna go to powers next.
Oh. Stay tuned.